Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. So let's just get right into it. I recently went to Cuba, yay, and I spent an entire weekday this January, and I recently got back, so I said let me upload for you guys. Now let's just jump right to it. When you travel into Cuba, do not take any American currencies. Take only euros, pounds, Canadian money, whatever other currencies you can find. Don't take American currencies. My point is it's being taxed too high down there. Therefore, you will get back very less and you'll feel like you have to spend so much money while you're there. Okay? I personally exchange 1,000 American dollars for euros, and that lasts me for the entire time I was there because I was pretty much getting $1 for $1 or even a bit more in Cuba with my euros. Okay? And then I would not have gotten that with the American money, which is like 13% of my dollar. Okay? All tourists in Cuba spend CUCs. All Cuban people spend Cuban pesos, okay? Now, CUCs, tourists, Cuban pesos, Cuban people. One CUC is equivalency of 24 Cuban pesos, okay? That's all the Cuban people know. That's all they're going to spend. So when you go to a restaurant or you go to a store or you go wherever in Cuba and you have to take out some money, taking a taxi, whatever the case may be, once you take out that CUC, they already know you're a tourist because that's all tourists get. Only people that have Cuban pesos in Cuba is the Cuban people. When you get your serious suits, it will say pesos on it, but it's not. That's the money for the tourists, okay? What else? Now, where I stayed with I did an Airbnb. My apartment was pretty clean, very nice. The people were nice. It was just like a hotel. Really, really nice. Like coming into the apartment, you wouldn't think so because the place just looked kind of run down and shabby. But once I got in, my apartment was on the 3rd floor and I was in there. It was really nice, really neat. The home was beautiful. So I had no problem with that. In the home, there is no internet, okay? There is no Wi-Fi in the homes in Cuba. So if you want to have internet and Wi-Fi, you have got to go to a Wi-Fi park. When you get to this Wi-Fi park, you will pay 2 CUCs for a Wi-Fi card, which will give you internet access. Or, depending on some crooks in the park, you might end up paying 3 CUCs, okay? Now, you only get an hour on this card to connect to the internet and, you know, post, send messages, call, contact whoever you may need to contact. I personally bought 1 card for the entire time I was there, and my 1 hour I used for my entire 7 days because I personally was feeling like I'm on vacation. Whatever's happening in the States, I will deal with when I get back. So therefore, I'm going to enjoy my vacation, and I'm only checking in just to let my family know, hey, I'm okay. Otherwise, I don't need to talk to anybody. Whatever I was doing in Cuba, you guys would know when I got back. Duh. Anyway, also in the home, there is blackouts. Be prepared for blackouts. I had blackouts in my apartment every day. So I would go to sleep at night, and when I wake up my eyes in the morning, there's no TV on, there's no lights on, there's no current. So be prepared for blackouts. But by that time, the place would be pretty bright, and I can open up the curtains and let some light in, open up all the windows, and, you know, let the sun come in and all that good stuff. So just be prepared for blackouts in Cuba. Be prepared for the TVs, all the TVs in Cuba to also be in Spanish. There was literally 1 English channel, and once I found that, I kept the television on that for the entire time, especially for like the nights I got back and I was like, I just want to watch something. Let me hear a little English, please. Okay? So yeah, TV's in Spanish. Everybody speaks Spanish down there, so just be prepared for that, okay, you guys? Also, probably the better thing to do is maybe take an iPad or a phone or whatever, maybe download a few movies on it if you're the type of person who's like really hooked to television and things like that and would want to be watching a lot of television while you're in Cuba, so that you can have access to that. Because like I said, or if you're a fluent Spanish speaker, good for you. You won't need to do that. You can just turn on the television and watch whatever they're showing. What else? The places in Cuba. You guys, Cuba, when you go online and you look at certain things, they show you all these pretty colored buildings and really nice classical cars and things like that. I'm not saying Cuba may not have certain parts of Cuba that is like that. However, Cuba looked run down and shabby to me. Mind you, I did drive through some areas where the place looked nice, but for the most part, it looked shabby. And that could possibly have been because I did Airbnb. But even so, just driving around and passing certain hotels, again, you see a nice hotel building here, but the rest of the place still look run down and shabby. And by that, I mean, like, you know, houses that need to be repainted because you see all the paint is chipping off and it just look dusty and look like this house needs an upgrade. That's how Cuba looked. That's how majority of the places I was in Cuba, especially in Havana, looked. Now, they could have possibly been other places in Cuba that just didn't look like that. And I mean, mind you, I passed very few to minimal of that. But for the most part, yeah, the buildings looked run down, dirty. It needed to be repainted, needed to be, you know, updated and things like that. So just be prepared to see that, okay? Just prepare yourself. I wasn't prepared for that, to be honest, because one, I guess I didn't really know much about Cuba. And then just looking at some of the pictures and things like that online, the place just looks so nice and pretty and like, ooh, vacation destination. And when I got there, it was an eye-opener. Okay, it was an in-between. You're going to see some classical cars that look like, whoa, this car just got a fresh coat of paint and this car just looks so good. Like, ooh, they have money. And then you're going to see some of the classical cars that just look like, this is a nice classical car, but it's so shabby and it's so run down. And are they taking care of this car? Majority of the cars are like that, like they're run down. You'll see a few that are looking really nice and really posh. And those are the ones also that they take the tourists around in for taxi, and they charge you a hand and a leg for that. Okay, all taxis charge a hand and a leg in Cuba. But like I'm saying, just be prepared to see some of the things you weren't expecting to see in Cuba, especially when it comes to the buildings, the way the place look, and the way the people dress, and you know, just be prepared. Have an open mind when you get to Cuba. What else? While I was in Cuba, I stayed in Havana, but I also traveled to Vadero. For Vadero, I went for the beach. There's supposed to be some popular beach over there in Vadero, so I went to the beach over there. It was nice. The water was nice. That day was good. The first couple of days I was in Cuba, you guys, it was cold. It was like 50 degrees. And I was like, thank God when I left America, it was snowing and it was cold here, so I'd walk with a jacket and I'd walk with a few long pants. But the people were saying their hottest month is supposed to be January, and honestly, you guys, the place was cold. Like, I was like, oh, fall here. It's fall. Like, they had some cold days, but the place warmed up. So the day I went to the beach, it was hot. It was nice. It was pretty. The beach was pretty. It took 2 hours to get from Havana to Vadero to get to that beach. So, not to mention, there were other beaches, but the group that I went with, they were pretty much insistent and adamant about going a 2-hour drive away to that beach. So just be prepared for that. Also, I traveled to Vinales, which is more like the country area of Cuba. And that area, like they don't have like street lights, you guys. No street lights. So when our taxi driver came to get us, we literally had to get up like 8:30 in the morning and leave from since then, and then try to get back out of that area from like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, because driving on the road, it's like pitch black. All you're seeing is the lights of the cars. There's no lights along the highways. Coming down the hill from the place, because Vinales, where we went up into the caves and things like that, you just kept winding up like a mountain, and as you're going up, you're just seeing poles with no lights. And houses just have like electricity running to them. And as we came down and the place was getting darker and darker, you'd only see like the lights in the home, but the place was like pitch black. So be mindful of that. And traveling to that Vinales was like 2 hours and a half, 2 hours, 40 minutes or so. So just be mindful of things like that if you're traveling to different parts of Cuba. Transportation. I would say in Cuba, transportation is the most expensive thing for me. It was for me, and I feel it's going to be for any tourist who goes to Cuba. They pay for gas by the liter in Cuba. So, and they pay in CUCs. Therefore, transportation will be expensive. And as a tourist, when you go on vacation, obviously you're expecting to spend some money. But just be mindful of that. The food in Cuba, I find, was cheap. Buying little trinkets and things like that, I'm looking at it, oh, this is cheap. But taxi got money out of you, okay? Because it's expensive for gas down there, so taxi prices are high. What else? Now, the people in Cuba, I find they were very down to earth. I find they were fun. I didn't find it was stush. I didn't think that they were very materialistic like most of us Americans are. They wasn't like, oh, into the Pradas and the Gucci and the Louis, and you know, they didn't dress very posh and very uppity and like, you know, they had a whole bunch of money type of. I didn't see any of that, you guys. Everybody was just pretty mellow, going about their business, living the everyday today life. Like when you watch some of the people literally selling plastic bags was some of the people's jobs. Like people come to buy fruits and you're selling a plastic bag to give you a coin for a plastic bag. Like some people had jobs like that. Like when our taxi driver would park his car and maybe let us run into the store to grab a bottle of water, or, you know, park so we could run in to get some breakfast or eat something and come back out. Every time he came back out, he would give the people like a coin. And he'd say, you guys have a coin? You know, like a CUC, one CUC or something, to give the people. Like some people's job were just to just stand by your car and wait to collect money from you, because they were just telling you, oh, come out more out of the back, out of space. Okay, wait, traffic is coming, type of thing like that. Like every and anything was little like a job for them. Okay, everything we would think, I can't do that. That's a plastic bag. It's a job for them down there. Okay, you guys. So you'll see and you'll observe things like that. And I was like, wow, like being in Cuba, like after the second day, I was like, Lord Jesus, I just thank you for everything that I have in America, because I don't know how good I have it. Sometimes I might be here and I might be complaining. And when you see the life they're living and the struggles they have, you're like, God, I have a 5-star restaurant in America. Like this is a 5-star home. This is the top notch, because compared to the life they're living down there, it's an eye-opener. What else? The food in Cuba. Now, if you're a person that likes spices, like a lot of seasoning in your food and things like that, be prepared, depending on where you eat, to not have that. So if you want to walk with your little spices in your purse, by all means do that. And I find when they cook the food, I can always smell the freshness of the food, and sometimes the food smells a bit rank. And like I was over the food by the second day. I was like, I'm not coming back to Cuba. This is it. I'm done. I cannot eat. Like I'm gonna shrivel up and turn into a bean by the time this vacation is finished, because I'm doing so much activities, but I can't eat anything because the food just tastes so nasty. But by day 3, when we got our taxi driver Humberto, I thank God, like the Lord heard my prayers and he just sent him, because from that point on, Humberto took us to all the lit spots. Like he took us to his family restaurant, and any good restaurant he knew of, he took us to. We didn't pay a lot for food, and the food was good and tasty and enjoyable. And the menus would be in like English and Spanish, so you can at least try to understand what it is that they were saying. Like I guess he took us to the restaurants, if you want to say, that catered for tourists, and the food wasn't expensive. And then I really started to enjoy the culture of the food and, you know, enjoy it. But after a while too, like by day 4, I kind of got tired of eating the same thing, which was like all their food is serving with this rice and bean or some fried plantains. They would give you like shrimp on the menu and lobster, and after a while, like the food just got pretty much kind of redundant. And then I was like, but at least it was tasting better than it was initially. So I was like, don't complain, Tanisha, don't complain. You're gonna go back to America soon. Anyway, yes, but they don't cook with spices, and they rarely have pepper sauce and things like that in Cuba too. So if you are the type of person that like to eat with pepper and spices, walk with a bottle of hot sauce or something in your purse. Also, if you're going to do Airbnb, you need to walk with things to cook if you possibly can. Like take some packets of maybe saltfish if you're Caribbean, you know what saltfish is. Take ramen noodles if you need to. Take some tuna if you need to. Take your little seasonings to prepare your own breakfast, and maybe prepare your own lunch if anything. Just take things that you know you're accustomed to, because after a while you're going to be like, this food I can't. But thank God God sent Humberto so that he can help us maneuver throughout Cuba and just, you know, have a blessed time for the remainder of my trip. Because like I said, by day 2 I was just like, nope, I can't do this. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. I have to have my little list. I was covering things. Coming back from Cuba as well, you guys. Can you bring back cigars? Can you bring back liquor? Things like that. Yes, you can, you guys. Yes, you can. I brought back their national rum, which is what their most popular selling rum in Cuba is, the Havana Club. I got the light one and the dark one. I also paid and brought back some cigars. Cohiba. There's 3 in here. And I also brought back the Monte Cristo cigars as well. and this one had 25 pieces in it. Let me show you guys what it looks like. This is the Monte Cristo. They had 25 of these in this box here. And then for the Cohiba, there was 3 in this box here. Let me show you guys. And it came like individually parceled. I just bought these things back for souvenir to like just give friends and family and things like that. I definitely tried a Cuban cigar hand rolls while I was in Cuba, because I did visit a tobacco farm and I also visited a coffee farm while I was in there when I went to the country, Vinales. Overall, like I said, the trip was really good, really wonderful. The people are nice. I would go back again because my experience after a few couple days being there, you know, it went up and I actually enjoyed myself. So if you're looking to go to Cuba, take the trip. It's an eye-opener. I think this video is going to be in 2 parts because I do need to post my photos and a few of the little videos I made while I was there. So this is part 1, and then you guys just need to look forward to part 2. But I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye, you guys.